I really like trading card games. I really like them. TCGs are not something I plan to make a lot of videos for on the channel as a whole, but they're still something that interests me, so I hope that if you are not interested in TCGs, you will still maybe find this video interesting. Every year, I do a big stream where I just rip open booster packs all day for hours and hours for all kinds of games. Pokemon, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Flesh and Blood, a bunch of others. You name it, it's probably there. You hopefully saw the graded card segment on the channel. If you didn't, go check it out. But another segment that I did this year for the 3rd annual stream was a Kickstarter segment where I bought 9 boxes of some of the most funded TCGs on Kickstarter, and we opened every single one and just kind of gave our thoughts on the boxes. This video is going to be going over the experience of opening booster boxes and the packs and looking at the cards and the art from these games. Not the games themselves, like actually playing them, because that would just kind of take forever. I didn't want to learn how to play 9 different games. I was originally just going to pull clips from the stream, but I think this format's going to work out better, so we'll have some stuff from the stream as like B-roll and stuff as I'm talking about the cards. So, the first box that we opened was from the game Sorcery Contested Realm, and this is probably going to be the longest section in the video, just telling you right now. This game was the most funded on the list at $3.5 million. A big draw of the game was the fact that they had artwork from Frank Frazetta, who was a big-time fantasy and sci-fi artist. If you don't know who that is, Wikipedia says he was often referred as the godfather of fantasy art. So kind of a big deal, and Sorcery has a partnership with the Frazetta estate to use his art for the cards of the game. There's a YouTuber who does like millions and millions of dollars of sales in a bunch of different card games, who announced that he was partnering with Sorcery to carry the product. So this naturally gained a lot of attention after that happened. Like the game got a lot of extra attention. I kind of caught wind of this, and I knew that I was going to do the Kickstarter thing eventually. So I actually backed the Sorcery Kickstarter. It's like $130 for an alpha edition box, aka first edition, Kickstarter edition, whatever you want to call it. And I'm very glad that I did, because at the time of the stream, the alpha boxes from the Kickstarter were going for $800. And as of the recording of this video, are going for over $1,100 on eBay. They're never gonna make alpha boxes ever again. It was just for the Kickstarter. So there's, I guess, just a lot of people thinking that these boxes are gonna be very valuable in the future because of the, there's not a lot of boxes out there. They're hoping that the game becomes successful and then the boxes go up in price and blah, blah, blah. The beta edition boxes normally retail for around $130. They're currently over $200 right now, but I anticipate that they're gonna do like another, wave of booster boxes to kind of bring the price down. As for the card opening experience for this game, I have some cards right here. It was, I thought, phenomenal. The cards themselves have more of a matte finish versus a semi-gloss, and have a like sort of velvety or suede type feel to them over something like a Pokemon card or a Magic card, or something from like a board game or something. The font choice, I think, works super well. The art is very prominently displayed, taking up most of the card, with very consistent art design throughout the set. There wasn't anything that really felt out of place, which for your first couple of sets for a new game, I think is a good thing. It's something we talk about in future games that we cover, is just inconsistency of art. Rarity isn't common, uncommon, rare, but rather ordinary, exceptional, elite, and unique, but just different words for it. Unique is being the rarest. The quality of the cards were really good. I didn't really see a ton of like miscut cards or misprint issues or anything like that in both the alpha and the beta box, which I opened off stream because we had such a good time with the alpha box. Another thing that I liked were that the foils were very limited. So that meant like getting a foil was actually fun again versus, you know, all these modern games where every single pack has like multiple foils in it, especially Magic, which has like basically booster boxes that are just all foils. Foils showed up about every 3.5 packs or so across both boxes. This meant that getting a common foil meant that it could have actually been worth a couple of bucks instead of just a couple of cents, which was nice for box value. You know, when you buy a booster box, you want to hope that you get as much, you know, value in cards as it cost for the box. I also didn't really experience any curling issues with any of the foils either. Like the cards were still very flat. They weren't like bending or anything like that. Prices, speaking of prices, for this game are just all over the place right now, but it was nice opening a beta box and getting approximately the same value back in cards that I spent for the box, which is about $130. I think our beta box was about $160 in value. Our alpha box, on the other hand, was loaded, and I think we got very lucky with getting a unique foil, so that's highest rarity in foil, of some Frank Frazetta art. This card in particular recently sold on eBay for $1,600 at auction. Not even buy it now. Not to mention, we also got a couple of other really good pulls. I'm gonna just zoom in here so you can actually see what we got. Aquamarine Core and Philosopher's Stone. This is a pretty significant card. This is a non-foil in alpha. Here's our unique foil with the Frank Frazetta art. Love the foiling with like the border and the text here. It's just so well done. Now, I don't think getting those kinds of pulls in every box is the norm. I could be wrong, but I don't plan on opening another alpha box unless the game crashes and burns into the ground and boxes become $100 or something, because I'm not spending $1,000 on another one of these boxes. This is also one of the few times where I am going to talk about card value, because this is basically the only game with some kind of secondary single card market, besides maybe one other game much later in the video. All in all, Sorcery was a fantastic experience to open. I think they did a fantastic job with the cards here. The art's amazing. It's consistent. The foils are rare, so that aspect of like opening packs is pretty fun. And if I could find more beta boxes for cheap, I would open more, because it's just a really fun opening experience. Next, we are moving to Elestrals, which received $1.4 million in funding. This game was created by another YouTuber named A-Drive, who does a lot of Pokemon content, and you get a lot of that Pokemon vibe from this game with all the different creatures and whatnot. This box cost me $148 to purchase all in, which is pretty close to the price that they were originally being sold for on their website. It was going to be really hard to top Sorcery's super clean look and premium feel. I don't think Elestrals necessarily hit their mark, but to be fair, pretty much no other game did. They have more of your typical card feel, although they feel significantly more rigid than that of a typical trading card from, you know, a typical box, which I don't think is good or bad. I think it just kind of depends on what you like. More rigid does mean maybe a little more resistant to bending, I suppose. They kind of felt like cards that you would get in a board game, where they just need to be a little tougher because they're going to get manhandled and you're probably not going to sleeve them or anything. Packs themselves were a little tough to open as well. We were having some issues when opening packs where we kept seeing the same few cards in a row from this first set, but someone from the staff of the game said that they're actually switching factories so that it shouldn't be a huge issue moving forward. That actually came into my chat during the stream, so that was kind of cool. Some other cards did have issues though. I noticed like scratches and lines and print lines going down cards, certain foils, edges and corners were a little dinged up here and there. Perhaps that, you know, factory move is gonna help with some of those issues. I didn't really notice any sort of centering or miscut card issues though. Everything was pretty well centered. Art-wise, it's going for a Pokemon type vibe, so you do need to keep things pretty clean so that you can easily identify what you're looking at. Art was consistent throughout though, no real surprises. In terms of the look of the cards, like the UI, I thought the bottom half of the card was pretty well done, great font choice and layout, but there was just something about the way that the title of the card was done that I don't know, I just wasn't into it. Maybe it's like the kerning of the letters on the title of each card, maybe it's the font choice. Something just feels a bit off to me personally with like this upper area. Rarity is common, uncommon, rare, very simple. It's by the symbol down here. But there's also foil cards. There's also full arts. This is our full art that we got. Alternate arts and stellar rares, which are supposed to be very, very rare cards to find with different color palettes and all that kind of stuff, which I think is cool. Apparently the creator really loves shiny hunting in Pokemon, so that was supposed to be like an homage to that. I think this was like our only full art foil of the whole box, so even getting that kind of stuff is pretty tough to find. We pulled 25 rares, 10 holo rares, 1 spirit holo, and then 1 full art. Very slight curling on the foils, nothing too insane. The foiling here is a lot more in your face than that of Sorcery, especially the full art foils. I'm not the craziest about this foiling pattern, but it doesn't really bother me that much. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the value of the cards or anything besides the full art foil that we pulled, which is apparently going in the range of $50 to $70 on eBay based on 4 sales of the card over the past couple of months. So, you know, that's nice, but I didn't really want to like search up every single card, and you know, I imagine the sales volume is quite low. I've seen other full arts going for very cheap though, so maybe this card that we got is good in a deck or is a rarer pull, not really sure. That being said, I wasn't expecting a ton of value out of pretty much anything that wasn't Sorcery. Overall, not too bad. Sorcery just set such a high bar right from the get-go that I knew it was going to be very difficult to even match it or come close. This set doesn't have the same like premium feel, but it also did have a bit less funding, although funding doesn't necessarily correlate to card quality, as I'm going to talk about in a future set coming up. Next up is Nostalgics, which was just shy of $1 million of funding at the time, although my booster box cost me $20 from an LGS, while the Nostalgics website sells them for $90. So I don't know how well things are going in Nostalgics world, but they do have a second set that is available, also for $90. I got the base first edition box. With a name like Nostalgics, I was rolling my eyes into the back of my head, but the experience was slightly better than I thought it was going to turn out. Card feel was pretty good, probably feeling most like your Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, stuff like that. A more normal feel, not necessarily a bad thing. But immediately I was turned off by this brown-purple color combination on some of the cards. It just didn't look good to me. It kind of looks like the format of something that you would pull out of a board game or something like that. Some of the other color combos worked a bit better. You know, they had like gray borders or gray all around, or even brown and gray. Art style wasn't completely consistent throughout. Some of the art feels a bit amateurish. Some feels way more professional, so I'm not sure what the feel of the art is necessarily supposed to be. It mainly felt cutesy, but then you have some like very detailed or dark cards that feel like they don't belong at all, like these void rares, these black cards. They just kind of almost come out of nowhere, and I almost kind of like prefer this style. Foils here were also a bit rare. Not every pack, more non-foils than foils. I wasn't terribly impressed with the foiling at all. If anything, it made it easier to see like scratches or print lines on certain cards. I want the alternate arts to have a bit more like zazz on the foiling. You know, they just kind of feel very basic. The art is fine, but yeah, the foiling was just kind of average to me, just very, very standard. Going back to the UI real quick, I wasn't completely turned off by the UI of the cards, but it also wasn't really doing a ton for me either. Like I said, it kind of feels like a board game type card. Simple font choices, very legible big numbers where you need that quick information. It was fine, but still kind of had that amateurish feel. Overall, not the most thrilling opening experience in the world, but I don't think things were really done that poorly either, just pretty middle of the road. Grand Archive TCG was up next. I bought a Dawn of Ashes Altar Edition box, not the first edition, because I was not going to shell out $250 for that box that people were wanting. This box cost me $80 all in. Grand Archive also raised just shy of $1 million, and Dawn of Ashes is their first set, with Fractured Crown being set number 2, which released in August 2023. This was probably the most average box opening. Art style was consistent. It's all anime art, which isn't necessarily bad or anything, but I've just seen a lot of anime art from a lot of other games and things that nothing really like blew my mind or surprised me at all. I think that's why it felt kind of average. The opening didn't really provide any wow moments for me or anyone really. And I think if you're looking to kind of break onto the scene, so to speak, you need some kind of a wow factor. That's not to say that other card games provided a wow factor, because they didn't really, besides like Sorcery so far. Card style is very clean. I do like it more than most of what we opened. Rarity, very easy to read at the bottom here. Cards are very easy to read. Print quality is pretty good. Felt like your more typical cards. Didn't really notice too many errors or issues. But it just feels like something I have seen before. It felt familiar. The full arts, aka collector super rares, are probably the closest thing to a wow factor, but those seem incredibly rare to pull, and they're the only thing with some kind of flair to them, in that they are full art cards. However, the first edition boxes have more full arts than the non-first edition in terms of what you can actually pull. Foils here were also pretty rare, adding a bit more to the excitement of getting a foil. I do appreciate that the art style did not go degenerate, nothing really lewd or anything like that. There might be a card or two that gets a little bit close, but you're not going to, be seeing girls with their chests popping out of their shirts on every other card. Also, the back of the card, the main logo, and like just how it is done, got a bit of extra praise from pretty much everyone in the group. Very clean look, very great design, and just this sort of extra, not necessarily foiling effect, but this extra shine effect looks just absolutely clean. Overall, a fine experience. It was fine. Nothing remarkable, nothing horrible either. I liked it more than Nostalgics. Perhaps if I sprung for a first edition box, maybe the experience would have been slightly better, but I can't imagine by much after looking at more of the cards in like their list essentially. Next up, we have Cryptic TCG raising $873,000, and they also have multiple sets out. First set was Genesis, which I was able to buy for $50 because it was an open box. They just took out the box topper, which I was fine with because it saved me a whole bunch of money, and I just wanted to rip open the packs. Very striking art style right off the rip. High fantasy, very consistent throughout. Some cards didn't really land for me. Some had a bit more of an amateurish feel, but then you had just some other cards that were absolute bangers. There were issues with just visibly seeing what the art was when things got too dark. Like, you had to squint to see certain details sometimes. Rarity was common, rare, and noble rare, with foils being considerably more common than everything else we had done up to this point, but minimal to no curling. I thought they all looked pretty good. Much more subtle foiling than some of the other things we've seen with all the twinkle effects and whatnot. These were just kind of like a flat color in the background, but it really let the art pop out, which I think was the star of the show. I didn't have any gripes with the UI of the card, but I in particular wasn't a huge fan of the font choice for the title of the cards, but that is a nitpick at best. Otherwise, card quality is good, feels like a typical card, nothing too crazy there. Pretty good experience in general. I liked it better than Grand Archive and Nostalgics for sure. I think probably above Alestrals as well. I'm going to do a ranking at the end of the video. But yeah, this one kind of short and sweet. Next up, we have Otherverse raising $672,000. I was able to get my box for about $50 all in. Only 7 cards per pack, which was pretty low compared to every other game. I think it was the lowest. We opened up Hidden and Void First Edition from their Kickstarter. So not at all what we were expecting when we started ripping. I was anticipating another sort of Grand Archive style format, just kind of based on the box here, and that did not happen. It didn't feel like the box art matched what was on the cards themselves. The art also kind of felt all over the place. You have these like modern anime styled cards, and then it's more like old school anime, and then it's like not even anime at all, like you're back to like 80s or 90s animation. It mostly looked good, but we just didn't know what the base art style was supposed to be. Card art got a little lewd here and there, but nothing that I would call completely degenerate. We also had some slight centering issues with our box. The text at the top of the card and the bottom of the card is just so close to the top and bottom that you don't really leave a lot of room for error. Cards also felt like they stuck together a bit more than anything else that we had opened so far. We had quite a lot of foil cards, in case you're not really seeing it here. 2 or 3 different types of foiling, depending on the rarity, and we actually hit a serialized card right here, down here, number 61 out of 100. I wish this 61 out of 100 was a bit more prominent on the card. This feels like it should be a bigger deal. There were also apparently other numbered serialized cards, like 1 out of 1, out of 10. I don't know if you need to go that wild right away with the serialized cards, but I like collecting stuff, so, you know, I get it. You want to have both players and collectors to a degree. Despite the centering issues, the foiling on the cards were pretty good. Nothing really too egregious with like curling, very minimal curling, just there very, very barely, and not enough to really be annoying though. So next up, we have the surprise set of the day with Rise TCG, funded with about $380,000. I got my box for $110,000, and I think there are only 3,000 boxes of this set that were made. If there was a set that I was hoping to see get a bit more funding, it would have been this one. Everyone was very pleasantly surprised with opening this set. I think it was basically everybody's favorite. Even the box itself was getting praise. It's a beautiful box. The box topper inside was also pretty unique in that it had 2 different arts depending on how you tilted the card, which isn't a new concept, but I don't think I've seen it executed in a trading card game before. Card texture in general also felt very much like a board game style of card. It has a plasticky feel, but it is a paper card on the inside. However, they didn't feel thick like Elestrals did. They still felt very, very good. The backs of the cards were also gorgeous with their different textures as well. I mean, look at the back of this thing, dude. It is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Now, despite being loaded with foils, I'm talking a third of the box is foils. I don't think I cared that much because the foiling was just done so well. This isn't a great example. Let me get one. Some very slight curling, not enough for me to really get mad at. They had all different kinds of textures, raised foiling, you had rough, you had smooth, much like Magic the Gathering. I'm sure this might get old at some point, having so many cards be foils, but for the first time opening this box, it was a really, really fun experience. However, it did leave me a little confused trying to figure out what was actually a rare and what was a common just disguised as a rare. So like, this card right here is a common. This card right here is the same card, but it's, you know, it's got a different rarity symbol on it. Rarity was done in the form of these symbols at the bottom of the card. The bigger the symbol, the rarer your card was, but commons could also be considered like super rares depending on what treatment the card got. This also has serialized cards. We actually pulled 2 in our box. I don't know how rare or common that actually is though, because I don't know how many serialized cards there actually are in the full set. Card packs are also in the style of MTG collector booster packs, where there are just so many different types of cards you can pull, which can get a little annoying for just tracking like, okay, I'm supposed to get X amount of commons, X amount of uncommons, 1 or 2 rares, and that is it. The art was absolutely fantastic in our opinion though, although I wasn't the biggest fan of like these green cards with the dude with the square head kind of took me out of the experience a little bit. But the other cards more than made up for it. The different textures, the stylings of the cards and the art, the consistency of the art. It was just a marvel to look at some of these cards, especially with every card taking advantage of all of the space of the card itself. The art feels so cohesive, probably because it's the same guy who did all of the cards. His name is on every card, with one or two other names showing up as, I assume, just some sort of an assistant or helper or assistant artist or something like that. The fact that this game only raised $400,000 and had this kind of card quality and foiling while others raised double or more is absolutely wild. Everyone loved cracking this set. I have no idea how the game plays, but the cards are beautiful. Like, not even just the art, like the cards themselves feel good. Like, everything about it just feels very, very good. Very premium feel. Next up is what I think was the most disappointing box that we opened, which was Akora, the Spellbound Wings set. I had to buy this box for $180 all in because there were no other boxes going up for auction. And let me tell you, this was not money well spent. This felt like I was opening a box of cards that were still in development. These look like test cards, like what they would use before they locked the design of a card and then print the real card. Huge borders around this card. This awful gray base on a good chunk of cards just does not look good at all. At least the whitish color looks a bit better. Let me find one of these. Oh, the hell, there you go. At least this looks a little bit better, but still, it's just very distracting. The font choice is as basic as possible. It doesn't really look that good. The art is super small on the card, smaller than basic Pokemon card art. The creature cards have flavor text in the middle of the card, whereas the spell cards have their rules in the middle of the card. The art is nothing remarkable to me either. There's some decent art here and there, but also nothing really blowing me away. Here's a couple of the foils here. The foils were at least were pretty okay, but otherwise quite disappointed by this set overall in terms of the opening experience. Just not the greatest time at all. Literally no wow factor. Cards still look like they're in development. Needs improvement. Finally, this last set it's not good. It didn't disappoint like Akora did because I knew it was gonna be dumb going into it, but still, Canna Beast Gaming The Stoned Ages, just what the weed smokers of the world needed, a card game. 411 backers, raising $177,000. I paid $142 for mine. Another horrible use of my money. I mean, I'll give some credit. The cards themselves, like the physical card, it's not too bad, no big centering issues. They're maybe like a little bit thicker, a little more rigid than your typical card. These are an eyesore at best. Not a huge fan of the gray border. There's a reason so many games use black or even white, which is not my favorite. The font in the card text box is fine. What is this alarm clock looking ass font for the names of the cards, dude? The foils have marijuana leaves in the background of the foil. I'm actually gonna give you points for that. That is a nice touch for a weed game. Foiling isn't too bad with very minimal curling. I don't know what else there is to say about Canna Beast Gaming, The Stoned Ages, weed, am I right? Anyway, overall, my rankings from bottom to top. I'm actually putting Akora at the bottom because I knew that this was gonna be dumb going into it, whereas with Akora, I expected a bit more. So Akora is 9, Canna Beast 8. Nostalgic's probably going in my 7 spot, with Otherverse going number 6, you know, just having some inconsistencies, and Grand Archive being right in the middle, 5 spot. It was pretty much, you know, the most average box that we opened. Elestrals, I'm going number 4, It was fine. I like some of the ideas behind the booster box experience, but I think card quality was a bit of an issue for this one, so hopefully that gets improved. Cryptic being in my number 3 spot actually surprised me, but the art was solid, the cards were pretty solid, and I think it did well enough to beat out all of the other sets. My number 1 is still going to be Sorcery, but I know many of my friends enjoyed Rise the most, and it is definitely a very close second place in my list. It definitely helps that Sorcery has some actual value in its cards, whereas with Rise, I really have no idea, but I liked Sorcery so much that I ripped another box off stream instead of saving it for on stream. So yeah, that was my adventure into ripping open some Kickstarter booster boxes of different trading card games. I do wonder what the next year will bring, what's going to pop off next, what's going to survive and all that. Again, I know this isn't a TCG channel or anything, so don't expect too much more of this, but if you had a good time watching, you know, toss a like on the video. If you did, maybe sub to the channel if you're looking for some more video game based videos and shenanigans and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.